Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. 580 Live is presented by Thornhill Automotive and is broadcast live from the Par-Mar Stores studio. The country, the United States of America. The state, West Virginia. The city, Charleston. This is 580 Live. And your host of 580 Live.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Monday morning to you. The final day of the month of July. Welcome to 580 Live, Charleston Sock Show. Here, the voice of Charleston, WCHS, from the Par-Mar Stores studio. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Stores studio. There's not a Par-Mar store near you now. There will be soon. Par-Mar invites you to the Adelphia Summer Concert Series this weekend in Marietta, Ohio. Only a 90-minute drive from downtown Charleston, folks. Friday night, it's the Prince Project. That's a tribute to Prince and the Revolution. Saturday, it's Taproots, Adelita's Way, Smile Empty Soul, and Truck Stop. And Sunday night, it's Uncle Ted Nugent. The Nugent Show, though, is completely sold out, I understand. Great tickets for the other shows are available, though. For more, visit theadelphia.com. The Adelphia Summer Concert Series, fueled by Par-Mar Stores, and brought to you in part by WVU Medicine. And remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. And 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group. Summertime is here. Time to find new roads to the Thornhill Motor Mile during their Red, White, and Vroom celebration. Celebrate with a new Chevy Silverado. Click or come by ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or in location, in person, US 119 in Chapmanville. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, Stephen Allen Adams from Ogden Newspapers is going to join us. Already a wild and woolly political season, and we aren't even into the political season yet. Well, he's going to join us to talk about that. Plus, you know, I haven't really had a whole lot of chance to talk about this, but I have wanted to, and that is the proposed needle exchange program in Charleston. It's back again, and I'm going to talk about that coming up a little bit later on as well. Plus, your phone calls and texts are welcome. It's Monday, though, which means we talk to one of our mayors from here in the Kanawha Valley, Mayor Scott Ellie from Dunbar. How are you, sir?
Doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for being here. Second appearance on the show, right?
Yes, sir.
We said we're going to try to make this a little bit more of a regular thing with you, but you're a hard guy to get a hold of. You're very busy because you're always doing the people's work.
Yes, always out on the streets and taking care of business.
That's what you got to do. So what's going on in Dunbar? You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, tomorrow night we have the National Night Out. It's going to be held at the Police Department parking lot from 6 to 8, and a lot of good things for the kids to interact with the police and fire departments, and a lot of booths set up for everybody to enjoy.
And this is a national event, as you said, the National Night Out. This happens all across America. And not all cities take part in it, but you do. Why is it that you do it in Dunbar?
The main reason that we do it in Dunbar is because I retired as a police officer from the city of Dunbar, saw the great program going on throughout the United States, and was one of the first guys to get it started here in Dunbar. We constantly are having, issues at schools and different things, and we wanted to get the kids out and see that police and fire are somebody that you can talk to.
And that's so important, I think, and one of the reasons behind the National Night Out on a nationwide basis, Mayor, is to get these people in the community to come out and meet these folks. And that way, when there are problems, which will develop no matter what the town is, that way you have an opportunity. They're not a total stranger. You know that Jim is one of our local police officers or first responders.
Yeah, and like I said, whenever I started it, it was just a small group. We probably had 100 participants. I would say tomorrow night we're probably going to have between 300 and 500.
And where does everything take place?
Down in front of the police department on Dunbar Avenue, 1300 block.
All right, and that's good. And lots of other activities going on as part of that as well.
Yeah, and here on the 16th, 17th of September, we're going to have our Fall Festival. Mm-hmm. With the Fall Festival, we're going to have Tommy Griffith and the band Non-Friction on Friday, September 15th, and on the 16th, we're going to have the band Hair Supply.
I'm familiar with both of Non-Friction.
All of them are great, so we have a good time for the 2 days.
Indeed, and we'll have you on probably before then to talk about that with all the different activities. Again, we're talking to Mayor Scott Elliott of Dunbar here on Mayor Monday. I want to go back to the National Night Out for a moment. How many years you been doing it?
This will be I believe it's the 7th year.
Yeah.
We started right before I retired in 2000, probably about 2016.
And this isn't the only community in the area that will be doing it. I'm sure others will, but right now it's your time. So we want to make sure everybody goes to one of the bigger and better ones in the area, and that's the city of Dunbar.
I always make it bigger and better.
In Dunbar, that's what you do. Mayor, there's been so many big things going on in the Valley here recently, from regatta to we had the World Table Tennis event last week at the Coliseum Convention Center, of different events going on in Nitro here as of late. How do all of these big events impact when they happen around the Valley? How do they impact Dunbar?
Unfortunately, they don't help us a lot. I mean, they come through and they'll buy all kinds of our food and stuff like that. We only have one hotel right at the minute. We have another hotel getting ready to open, hopefully at the end of the month. Once we get that and open, the sports complex and different things are going to be taking advantage of that hotel, I believe, and the people coming in will really help the city out with the B&O taxes and everything else.
Well, we're hoping that they do. And I think you talked to Mayor the last time you were on the show about the need for another hotel in the Dunbar area. And again, with the success of the Shawnee Sports Complex and with all these other things going on, and their proposed Capitol Sports Complex in downtown Charleston, if that gets done, which we think it will, Dunbar is going to be, like these other communities in the area, they're going to be bustling just as well, whether the events are held there or not.
Correct. And, there's only so many hotel rooms between here and Flatwoods, Kentucky, Flatwoods, West Virginia, all the way to Beckley, that everybody is booking up solid every time there is a soccer the soccer competitions and different things like that. So since 2017, we haven't had one of our hotels, and it's the bigger hotel of all of them. And I think by getting that one back open with new owners, we'll be in great shape.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck with that. It's Mayor Monday with Dunbar Mayor Scott Elliott. Mayor, there's been a lot of people, and it's been proven, that are going to be moving into the area soon. And I don't want to get into politics necessarily. We'll do that with Stephen a little bit later. But it's a fact, there are people moving into the area. In my neighborhood, we're getting ready to add about a development of about 300 families that are going to be in this new housing development that's happening over in Tays Valley. And all these people that are moving can't live in Tays Valley, or they can't all live in downtown Charleston. So as a mayor, what do you say to people that may be looking at Dunbar as a place to live?
3 years ago, we took over the administration, and, there was a lot of houses that were dilapidated. Today, I can come here and tell you that there has been 40 on the ground. We have 8, possibly 8 more coming down by September. We're making room to put new houses in every day that we can. And, if you would look at the prices of property back 5 years ago compared to today, we're getting up there, and we're getting reasonable with all the prices. And, if it wouldn't have been for trying to clean up the city, we wouldn't be able to draw anybody in. But I think we can draw people in now.
Well, and that's what we hope happens. How's the business climate in Dunbar?
It's getting better. We're in the middle of restructuring Ohio Avenue to get that cleaned up. We have several businesses. We got a brand new ice cream shop, the Crafts of Coal, that just opened up on Dunbar Avenue right past the police station. So
and these folks have had a pretty successful food truck type thing in a trailer that they've taken around to different areas. Same people, I'm presuming, right?
Yes, and they are packed, it seems like, every day.
Who doesn't like ice cream in summertime?
It is nice. I had my first Crafts of Coal ice cream last Saturday on their grand opening, and it was probably the best ice cream I've had.
Okay, all right. So I got to ask you, Mayor, what's your personal favorite on the ice cream?
That was the West Virginia, I believe it was called the Pothole.
The West Virginia Pothole.
Yeah.
And what was that? What was?
It had cookie dough and Oreos.
No, you can stop right there.
It's good.
You get me with cookie doughs. I mean, I'm not a huge ice cream person, but as soon as you said cookie dough or Oreo, you got me, and you got our producer in there, Hollywood Jeff Petty, who's like, slurping all over the microphones in there. So you got the Crafts of Cole folks there, and hopefully we'll get some more businesses in there as well, because Dunbar's a great place.
Like I said, we're doing work on Ohio Avenue, and that's our main business district. I'm waiting on the state of West Virginia to decide if they're going to give me the grant to open up 12th Street completely, and if they do, I think businesses will come.
Well, we certainly do hope so. All right, let's recap and talk about National Night Out again tomorrow night. Give us the time and location and what people can expect when they come out.
Well, we're going to have the National Night Out from 6 to 8 in the 1300 block of Dunbar Avenue. Be careful when you're coming through because kids will be crossing the road. We're having water foam machines and water sprinkler systems. We're having a demonstration by the canines. We're having a demonstration from the fire department on extrication. Batman is going to be there, and we're just going to have a good time tomorrow night for a couple hours.
And the weather's going to be fantastic.
I hope, because the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like every time we get a storm right in the middle.
We, according to what my friends in meteorology tell me, this is going to be a fantastic week for any sort of an outdoor activity. Mayor, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Keep doing great things in Dunbar.
I appreciate you.
Oh, hold on one second. Got a question here for you. You're not done yet.
Okay.
Somebody said, what is the status of the Alabama barbecue that's supposed to be opening up in Dunbar?
The gentleman that put the Alabama barbecue in there had some issues, and he had to get an exit ramp cut out of the Dunbar Avenue side. They have an entrance, but they couldn't take the entrance and exit out the same place. So they moved it, and he has some gravel that was put down before they moved the exit ramp. And as soon as he can get that all smoothed out and fixed up, I understand he's going to be opening.
Yeah, because I actually drove by there the other day, and I saw the sign up there, and I thought, man, it's been a while since that sign's gone up there. So hopefully we'll be able to get him taken care of, and I appreciate the texter for texting that in. Mayor, good luck with everything tomorrow night. We'll have you on before your fall festival. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mayor Scott Elliott from the city of Dunbar. 580 Live presented in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Off night tonight for the Birds. They'll be in a long road trip, though, tomorrow night in Lancaster. They will return home to Go-Mart Ballpark on August the 8th to take on Lexington. For tickets, Dirty Birds gear, promotion schedules, and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. I'm going to talk politics with Stephen Allen Adams on the way next from the Par-Mar Store Studio. 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Quicker come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Attention employers, do you have an IT workforce shortage? Bridge Valley Community and Technical College has your answer. Bridge Valley uses the Apprenticeships in Motion Grant, or AIM for short, to provide IT training to upskill current staff. These trainings are free or almost free to you. We also have a talented pipeline of IT degree students looking for on-the-job training opportunities, and your company may be eligible for up to 50% wage reimbursements when you take on an apprentice. Visit bridgevalley.edu/AIM to learn more.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I am often asked, what is the value of my case? The answer, of course, depends on your injuries, liability, and the damages to you financially. And it also very much depends on the law firm you hire to represent you. All firms are not the same. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been here at your time of need. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia. ForThePeople.com.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Par-Mar Stores. Ah, yes, summertime. From the ballparks to the pools to the backyard barbecues to vacation or just hanging out at the house, chances are you're going to run out of something. And when you do, visit your local Par-Mar store. From gas to groceries and all the other stuff you need, Par-Mar has you covered. Download the Par-Mar app for even more savings and sign up for the rewards card. Par-Mar is the official convenience store of Marshall University and the official store of the West Virginia Schools Activities Commission. Happy summer, and remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. 9:22 from the Parmar Store studio. It's 580 Live, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group and the voice of Charleston, WCHS. 580 Live, brought to you part by QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Is that knee pain getting worse? How about the pain in your shoulders, your hips, or your back? Get real lasting relief without surgery, drugs, or downtime. Call QC Kinetics today, 304-202-5566, 304-202-5566 for QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. I want to welcome our good friend Stephen Allen Adams from Ogden Newspapers. How are you, my friend?
I am doing fantastic, man. How are you?
Doing well. I love getting together with you to talk politics, and there's been a lot of news here as of late, particularly in the race for governor. Now, last week actually came down officially, I guess, on last Monday, but it had been rumored for some time. State Auditor J.B. McCuskey has dropped out of the governor's race to instead turn his attention toward the race for Attorney General. He'll find himself facing off, Stephen, against a couple of state senators. Mike Stewart, editor's note, Mr. Stewart has asked for time to talk to Dave Nation this Wednesday, top of the show, and he'll be on the show Wednesday. Also, Senator Ryan Weld is part of that, too. A lot, Stephen, has been made of the friendship, or maybe the former friendship, between McCuskey and Weld. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, I think former is the operative word there. In a short amount of time, there's already been some hurt there. You're talking about two people, in the case of Ryan Weld, good friends with J.B. McCuskey. Weld would sometimes even stay with the McCuskies when he came to Charleston. Their wives get along, and JB openly welcomed Weld to the Attorney General race on social media. And so there's a lot of closeness there. So this took them by surprise, even though from what I understand, I think JB did give Weld a heads up before he did it, but that didn't make it any less hurtful for sure. So it was a surprise by that group. And if Weld's smart, he kind of takes that anger and kind of channels that into the race and moving forward, because obviously he's mad, and we'll see what happens. And
on the interview on Hoppy last week, you have kind of the he said she said thing, because Ryan Weld, I guess he said where Ryan Weld says that I guess that JB sort of kind of told him, that if you run for governor, I'll run for attorney general, and you run your race and I'll run mine. Yep. As you said, they were great friends. And then McCuskey comes out and says, no, I didn't say that. And Weld responds by saying, I can tell you exactly where you were when you said that. So who actually knows here?
Yeah, I would imagine some conversations were had about that. I was told something similar. I was told basically the Weld wouldn't have even gotten into the AG's race if JB had said that was the route he wanted to go. But from what I've been told, JB had said, no, you're good to go. So they did it. But the rumor had been out there for some time, but JB was looking to get out. Now, he never hinted that much about that sort of thing to me, get out of the governor's race, I should say. I never got a hint of that. In fact, I was arranging an interview for a gubernatorial interview series I'm working on for our papers. And then this all happened, the last weekend, really, is when a lot of this started to come out. There was a poll out there apparently trying to feel people out on how they felt about J.B. McCuskey running for Attorney General, and then the announcement came last week. So it's one of those things where, it's a he said, and the only thing you can really do is just move forward. You got another guy in the race, and just do the best you can.
And Mike Stewart, of course, came out, as I said, Mike will be on the show Wednesday, but Mike comes out and says basically, okay, while you guys are talking about feelings and hurt feelings, I'm busy talking to the people. Greg Thomas was on the show last week. He says that McCuskey is the favorite in this race. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of interesting dynamics there, because politically, I think Weld and JB are very similar. I would put them, I think in my column today, I describe them both as sort of traditional Republican conservatives. Mike Stewart, I would put more in the kind of national conservative family that seems to be kind of a growing thing.
A little more right than what, in your opinion, than what McCuskey and Weld are?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And it's a trend that's kind of growing nationally. So they could take votes away from each other. But you know what? JB and Stewart could take votes away from each other, too, because they're both been involved with Kanawha County politics for some time, for the last decade or so. So there's a potential for that as well. And, of course, JB, as you know, is coming in with, I think, more than $400,000 in cash on hand, which is way more than Weld, who does have the most money in the race. He outraced Stewart in the last quarter. But I mean, that's a lot of money, and he could do a lot with that. Even if he doesn't raise anything else, he can definitely use that to get his name out there. So a lot of different dynamics there.
And speaking of money, I'm honestly, Stephen, not somebody who spends a lot of time poring over campaign finance reports. Some of you guys, it's your paid job. You have
Love
to do
it.
that, you and Brad and people like that. What do you make of the early reports so far?
Wow, yeah. I think before JB got into the governor's race, certainly I think Weld having a lot of money really kind of shows you, look, Mike Stewart could be a little bit grating on the other side of things. Obviously, he had a kind of a reputation coming out of this legislative session for pushing hard and kind of getting under fellow Republican senators' feathers. He's got that reputation behind the scenes as well, and of course he was a hard charger as U.S. attorney. So it's one of those things where Weld's comes across as a friendlier guy. He's a younger guy. He's very polished, all that sort of stuff. So maybe people kind of saw something in him that they thought would make a good attorney general candidate. So he got more of the money that time around. But, I mean, again, now with a third person in that race, J.B. McCuskey, that dynamic's going to change. And he doesn't have to raise any more money, but he might. But people might see him as someone who's ran a statewide race. The other two really haven't done anything like that. So that does give JB an advantage they don't have.
Indeed. Again, we're talking with Stephen Allen Adams of Ogden Newspapers here on 580 Live. 580 Live presented in part by Travis Willard, your Edward Jones financial advisor just off the Tays Valley exit. Learn how Travis and the team can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com or call Travis Willard today, 304-397-5553 for your Edward Jones financial advisor. Travis Willard, Edward Jones member SIPC. So we got interims coming up.
Yes.
State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin on the show last week, and Delegate Mike Pushkin as well. Got to get both his titles in there, saying that it's time for, I guess, while the interims are here, to really focus on more of a special session kind of a thing on foster care. He was on. I saw him on Mark Curtis's show over the weekend as well. He was really drilling down on that on the foster care system and the prison system. Your thoughts on what we could expect as the interims roll into town?
Sure. I think there will be a special session. Of course, it hasn't been announced yet. Everyone keeps pressuring the governor. The governor doesn't ever announce that stuff until practically the day before. So, but I can tell you, talking to some lawmakers, particularly Senate President Craig Blair, behind the scenes, there's movement towards that, particularly to deal with the correctional officer crisis. And they have a comprehensive plan. It's not just going to be pay raises, but it's going to be changing some of the pay scales and other reforms to try to encourage correction officers to stay, recruit more. So you're going to see that happen. But in regards to foster care, I don't know. That's a big thing, and they have done several bills over that. But of course, that just scratches the surface of what they need to do. I know Hoppy had a column this morning talking about making some fixes to how they do the motor vehicle, personal property tax rebate stuff.
It's confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. Makes you wonder why the state tax division didn't come out with any guidance on this, since this was the governor's thing, but that's another story. But yeah, they'll have to do a fix to that. I'm sure they'll have some supplemental appropriations. So yeah, I think they'll use this interim time to do a special session for sure. There's certainly a desire to do it, but of course it always takes coming up with agreement on whatever the bills are before they move forward, because they don't want to go past the interim date and then have to spend actual money, because special sessions cost $35,000 a day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Stephen, I had last week at HD Media President Delegate Doug Scaff on the program, and Steve, I just keep hearing that he may possibly be looking at switching parties, possibly to run for Secretary of State. Now, he did not elaborate on that. He was a little bit vague on it. He said he has no plans at this time. When politicians say at this time, you got to put that asterisk up there. Your thoughts?
I've heard this rumor twice now. I heard this rumor going into July, and then someone else told me this rumor. Both times it came from two different people that are not connected to each other. So I've heard this a couple times. Doug Scaff certainly is what I would call a conservative in regards to business, in regards to economic issues, social liberal, which is pretty common among sort of the younger group anyway. That's not totally dissimilar. It makes kind of sense for the Charleston area. So that would probably be okay if he were to do that. As for running for Secretary of State, I think that would be a hard lift. just switching parties just to do that, especially since you've got longtime Republicans in that race, including Brian Wood and
Putnam County Clerk and
Chris Pritt, and that sort of thing.
Mr. Reed.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be a hard lift, but I keep hearing the rumors too, and I keep checking in each week to see if the registrations change. So if I hear it first, I'll let you know.
I want to go back to the Senate race between Governor Justice and Congressman Alex Mooney just for a moment. The polls show that it isn't even close. Greg Thomas on the show, though, last week says he thinks Mooney is going to close the gap somewhat as we head toward next year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's right. There was a poll that came out here. There's quarterly morning consult polls that always look at the governors in each state and how their popularity and unpopularity looks. And the governors he still has popular numbers, but he's been in the top 5 over the last year. He's dropped to the top 10, down to the bottom, top 10, still very popular, but his numbers are softening a little bit, and that would coincide, A, with his announcement of a run, and B, with some of these negative headlines in regards to the federal lawsuits, banks going after him, and his businesses and that sort of thing. So, obviously, Mooney, the Club for Growth, which also backs Mooney, are going to hit Justice repeatedly for that stuff. They got ads out there now on that sort of thing. I think and we got a lot of time between now and next primary. So the more they hit that, the more those numbers could soften. So I think he's right. I think it will narrow some. Now, will it narrow enough for him to win over Justice? I don't know, but I think it will narrow.
Well, and I just keep hearing that these things are going to come out, more things on Governor Justice, and I've had people on the show and that have texted the show about allegations of some immigration issues with some of his employees down there, and that they're really, some of these national groups are really going to hit hard on certain things like that. One thing about it is, regardless, Stephen, there's going to be a whole lot of attention on a West Virginia Senate race at this time 20 years ago probably would not have had that much attention because the stakes are much higher now.
People need to be very prepared for that. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of national news stories on this race because, I mean, again, we've now for the last couple cycles, the makeup of the Senate has been, a big deal. Right now, it still remains barely majority Democratic. But Republicans have tried to make a couple big pushes on that. It's kind of been interfered with by a certain former president that's kind of screwed that up, in my opinion. But yeah, 2 cycles of that. They are desperate, the Republicans, to get the majority back. So every race counts, and this one does too. So you're going to see the Democrats pour a lot of money into this race too, whether it's Joe Manchin or if it's just them trying to keep Justice out or whoever wins that. A lot of money, a lot of attention are coming to West Virginia.
All right, speaking, you said the magic word there, Stephen, and Joe Manchin. I'm going to ask you the same question I ask nearly everybody I have on the show, and that is, does Senator Manchin run for re-election to his Senate seat? Does he run for president, or does he not run at all?
I think he does whatever is going to work out in his best interest. Now, that's a fake answer. But look, I mean, he is the type of person that if he decides to run for Senate, he's going to need a lot of support. So he's going to need the Democrats coming out. He's going to need all that money that they may not want to spend for anyone else because it looks like it's going to go red. But they might spend it for Manchin if there's a chance of him staying and a chance of them pulling out that seat. But at the same time, does he want to have a humiliating loss to a guy that he helped get elected in 2016 that's flipped parties and fired his wife? I don't know. I wouldn't. What about president? Well, he's going to lose for president, but he could actually pull that out as well and use that as a way to parlay some national attention for himself. But the third parties usually lose. What's he going to do? He's only going to do what works out for him and allows him to save face. So, but what that choice is, I just don't know yet.
Well, I will say this with all due respect to Senator Manchin. He runs against Jim Justice. He runs against Alex Mooney. Either one he loses, in my opinion, because and it's nothing necessarily against Senator Manchin. It's just where West Virginia is right now. And let's go back to 2018. He barely beat Patrick Morrisey at that in that particular race. So I'm going to say, I don't know what he's going to do. I can say something today and then, Wednesday be totally proven wrong. I don't think Joe Manchin runs for Senate. I think he does do the presidential thing, and he knows he's not going to win because there's no way that any third party is going to win. And now the question is does a Manchin or whomever, is part of that whole team, because there may be Lieberman, there may be some others that'll be a part of that as well. Does that help Trump or does it help Biden?
Yeah, that is the question. I mean, I never take Joe Manchin for granted. He's a great retail politician. But yeah, if he runs for president, that's the hard choice. And I kind of see it to some extent taking votes from certainly both Biden and Trump. If you're a moderate and you want somebody in that moderate sphere, then you're going to vote for Manchin. But I mean, flip a coin. You know, we were literally walking into the same situation that we were in 16, where you have two unpopular candidates, and it's going to come down to whoever is the least unpopular among those two. 16, it was Hillary Clinton, and Trump. This year, I think it's going to be Biden and Trump, and whoever is the least unpopular is the one's going to win.
It's going to be Biden or Trump. I mean, I watched a lot of the political talk shows over the weekend. I talked about this on the show last week. The majority of Americans, poll after poll, have said that they don't want Biden and they don't want Trump, regardless of party. But that's where we're going to go. DeSantis is falling further and further through the polls. I hear a couple of people here and there saying the right things. Tim Scott or Will Hurd got booed at an event. I think that was in Iowa. Was that in Iowa this past weekend? He got booed. Nikki Haley was making the rounds of the shows, and she's walking that line because you don't want to say anything bad about Trump, but you want to say basically what she was saying is, well, it's time for somebody new, So I want to throw this out at you. So I mentioned Greg Thomas, had him on the show last week, and some of the folks, some of the political strategists have indicated that instead of getting involved in a lot of races next year for House and Senate and things like that, they may instead focus their energy toward a lot of county races. I mean, we are seeing, Stephen, a complete bloodletting right now with county officials who can't get to the county clerk's office quickly enough to change their registration. In my native land down in Logan County, you just had the county clerk that flipped. You just had the sheriff that flipped, which would have been unheard of, this time 15, 20 years ago. We have a county commission seat up here in Kanawha County next year. We don't know what Commission President Kent Carper is going to do at this point. We already know Chris Walters is going to run for that. And I say all that to say this. There's going to be a lot more focus in some of these county races because I think some of the higher ups in the Republican Party are just kind of as you said, you never want to take anything for granted, but they are looking at some of these House of Delegates races and some of these state Senate races as saying, well, it's going to go Republican. It's just a matter of which Republican gets it. We're going to focus more on the county courthouses. Are you hearing that?
Maybe. I listen to Greg Thomas talk about that, and I see that as a focus for some. But I do see groups, particularly the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, I think, are still going to be very focused on the legislature because, this past session, you did have some pretty significant fights. The Foreign Energy Bill, for example, where you had some Republicans obviously be for that. In fact, most Republicans were for it because it passed. The bill passed, allowing some of that state money to be used in order to entice foreign energy in the Northern Panhandle. But you also had a number of Republican lawmakers that didn't think state money should be used for that or thought the company was woke or all this sort of stuff. And you saw a lot of chaos in the Senate, too, between different factions in the Republican Party. And I think there's going to be an effort, particularly by the chamber, to try to recruit candidates that are more conservative, more traditional conservative, Reagan conservative, business conservative, to kind of counteract that. I think a good example is Robert Carnes up in Randolph County and Robbie Morris, part of the Economic Development Group up there. That has been, I think, recruited by the chamber. I think you're going to see some of that focus in the legislature as well.
I'm going to play a little make-believe right now, Stephen, before we let you go. You are State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin. How do you play this whole thing? I had him on the show last week, and I asked him when could we expect to see some names being thrown out there to run for some of the seats, for governor, for example, or House or whatever. No one wants to be the Washington Generals. That's an obscure reference, but what I mean is the Generals are the team that get their butts kicked every night by the Harlem Globetrotters. Nobody wants to be them. I don't see a path forward for hardly any Democrats. If you are the State Democratic Party chair at this point, what do you do?
Well, first of all, by making me Mike Pushkin, you just gave me the ability to play guitar decently, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's a good guitarist.
But in all seriousness, I talked to somebody just last weekend about this sort of thing, and I think they are going to try to get some names on the various tickets. I mean, and try to get some good names, even if they might lose. I think they want to have some high-quality candidates going forward just to fill those ballot spots, particularly Board of Public Works. And I think that it's important for them to fill those ballots, because that's one of the things that they've gotten criticism of before. And is it going to be an uphill climb? Yeah, it's going to be an uphill climb, but they're better off trying than not trying, because you just never know what's going to happen in politics, and maybe something happens and one of those guys gets in.
I mean, you got to do what you can, in my opinion, to distance yourself. If you're a West Virginia Democrat, you've got to do what you can to distance yourself from the Democratic Party, or the perception of such on the national level.
Right.
West Virginia, Stephen, is a solidly red state, and getting redder it's more red than what it was when I started the show.
Yes.
That's where we are right now. And the further right that the Republicans go in West Virginia, it seems the more the electorate here likes it. And it's like they can't be right enough. And now we're seeing battles on the Republican side. Well, I'm more conservative than he is. I'm more, a couple of years ago, I'm more Trumpier than he is, or that she is, or whatever. I mean, that's what the Democrats have to do. They've somehow got to distance themselves from the perception of what the National Democratic Party is.
Yeah, real quick. I know that some people always like to say West Virginia is a Trump state, and that is true to an extent. But I had a good conversation with a Republican political operative the other day who really made a good point. It's like, look, it just doesn't matter in the state at this point. If it's not Trump, it's somebody else. Mm-hmm. But this electorate in this state will vote Republican regardless. And you can see that in the presidential stuff, because, I mean, the last Democratic presidential person we voted for was Bill Clinton. We've been voting Republican in presidential contests since 1984. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter who it is at this point. If you got an R by your name, you're probably going to do pretty well at this point.
All right. Before we let you go, do have a text here. It says, Manchin got lucky. He beat Morrissey, who has the personality of a pet rock. Morrissey has no people skills, and that's why Moore will win. I'm presuming they mean more Capito. Yes, I'm a Republican, and no, this is not Greg Thomas texting you, according to the texter.
Morrissey is a hard charger. He's a bulldog. He's a hard campaigner, and that does ruffle some feathers for sure. But it also has worked out for him. So, I mean, since 2012.
He's a winner. I mean, you can dislike the guy, you can not like his personality, whatever. The guy does nothing but win. Morrissey. I mean, he did get beat in 2018, but not by a heck of a lot. That race is today between Morrissey and Manchin. Morrissey wins, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Yeah. What are you keeping an eye on today? 30 seconds. What are you looking at today?
Well, the governor's starting his administrative briefing on a Monday for a change, so we're doing that. I know he's seeing off National Guard soldiers heading off to the Mexican-Texas border. So those are sort of the big things going on right now. And right now I'm just trying to get some of the gubernatorial candidates to give me a call back. So.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Stephen Alan Adams with Ogden Newspapers. Of course, you can follow him everywhere on social media and check out the newspapers. Well, Stephen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, it's 15 minutes almost before the hour of 10. Phone calls to 580 Live are at service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. We're way overdue. We're back after this from the Parmar Store studio. It's 580 Live, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Click or come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Elevators. You take them for granted until they let you down. If you're working to maintain a stellar reputation, then let me introduce you to DC Elevator. We want to work with you to make sure your people get where they are going. What could be better than a new company coming to the area and already having 45 years of experience? DC Elevator is bringing a new culture of elevator maintenance, repairs, modernization, and installation to West Virginia. Don't leave your people hanging. For a free consultation, call DC Elevator at 304-345-7222.
Women Helping Women. Girls Night Out is a party with a purpose to end domestic violence. The largest women-only fundraiser in the region supporting YWCA Resolve Family Abuse Program is back on August 12th, 6 to 10 p.m. at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. Ladies will enjoy great food and drinks, gift bags, a live auction, and DJ EJ spinning all the tunes. Join us for Girls Night Out Roaring 20s on August 12th. Tickets are on sale at GNOWV.com.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
5858 Fruit Pharmacy. Text 304-935-5008. 580 Live brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. Buy any regularly priced large 18-inch pizza and get a free 2-liter Pepsi. Find your local Hudson's Pizza for delivery, pickup, or dine in at Hudson'sPizza.com. Text says, the way everyone in West Virginia is flipping to be Republican, West Virginia is going to have a one-party system like China and North Korea. West Virginians seem to have the similar hive thought as the Chinese and North Koreans, so it's not surprising, according to a text. Well, we had basically a one-party system for 80-some years, so it's what it is. Text says, one way to continue to keep people out of West Virginia is to continue to vote red, according to a texter. I want to say congratulations to Terry O'Daniel of Campbell's Creek. Terry was the grand prize winner of our Great Gas giveaway this past Saturday, brought to you by Parmar Stores and the stations of WVRC Media. Despite the heat, we had a big old party Saturday morning on Old Main in St. Albans, and a big shout out, by the way, to Mayor Scott James and his team there in St. Albans for making the event come off flawlessly. We gave away a ton of prizes. In addition to 500 gallons of free gasoline, again, won by Terry O'Daniel of Campbell's Creek. All our stations were there, and I just had to say, we truly have the greatest listeners in the world. From all of us here at the WCHS network of stations, plus V100, the all-new 98.7 The Mountain, 107.3 The Beat, Superstar Country KWS, 95.3 KAZ, and Charleston's ESPN Radio. We thank everybody for coming out and having fun with us this past Saturday in St. Albans. Always great an opportunity when you have an opportunity to get out and actually meet people and talk to people. Even, Jeff, you'll appreciate this, I even met one guy that said he listened to the show. So, hey, there's that one guy, that listens to the show. 580 Live is presented in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you are replacing a roof, remodeling a kitchen, or replacing a bathroom to keep it safe and to keep it legal, get with Pinnacle Consultants. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within a week, testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead. It is the law in West Virginia. Visit pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. Went a little bit long on my last segment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the next break. When we come back, I want to get into this needle exchange program that's being proposed, yet another one for Charleston. We're going to do that right after we do this. From the Parmar Store Studio, 580 Live, brought to you by the Thornhill Idler Group and the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you looking for a technical job in the medical field? Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
At Pew Furniture Warehouse Showrooms, we are unloading truck after truck, shipments of lift chairs, baby furniture, and I mean loads of baby furniture. Amish-made bedrooms and dining rooms. When buying Amish furniture, you can have it just the way you want. Our made in West Virginia Almost Heaven mattresses. Don't forget, these mattresses are flippable. We also carry a good selection of power bases and hybrid mattresses. Check out our selection of sofas, reclining furniture, and sleeper sofas, made here in the USA. We're offering an additional 10% off store-wide on the tagged price, excluding clearance items. Clearance area changes weekly. Buy it today and have it in your home tomorrow. We offer 12 months same as cash to qualified buyers. Pew Furniture Warehouse Showrooms, 1320 Smith Street, Charleston. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5:30, Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday closed.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks. Available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Quicker come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
8 minutes away from 10, 580 Live, brought to you by Generations Physical Therapy. 7 convenient locations along I-64, and they are hiring for both licensed and technically trained staff. For more information, visit generationspt.com. Coming up on Talk Line, this situation out of Alderson Broaddus College is just insane. Hoppy Kirchville is going to get into that a little bit later on Talk Line. Chris Steyerwalt from the Dispatch will be on board the show today as well. And former West Virginia Congressman Nick Rahall, haven't heard that name in a while. Nick Rahall is going to be on the show today. That's Talk Line coming up at 10:06. So I promised you I would get to this, and I am. Needle exchanges. This, of course, is not something new. It's not a new discussion at all. We've discussed it. I've been doing the show now for 3 years. I have discussed it several times on the show in the past, and it's been discussed various places. Well, the discussion is back in Charleston. Last Thursday, over 100 residents came out to make their voices heard over a newer plan that's coming to light now from the Women's Health Center. The Women's Health Center has applied for a syringe service program license. Now, City Council is expected to vote on the program being used, or what's proposed to be used, at the Women's Health Center on the west side. I'm told it is going to be discussed at next week's City Council meeting. Now, the rules say that before a program like that can be put into place, there had to be a public hearing, and that's what happened last Thursday. That meeting was held at the Goodwill Prosperity Center on Virginia Street West. I did not attend the meeting. Our Jarrett Lewis did. He covered the meeting for the WCHS Network and Metro News last week. You can still go back on the website and read the stories now. I'm told that there was a mix of people, both for and against the program. Iris, and if you're listening to the show, I totally apologize because I know I'm going to mispronounce your name, but Iris Sedikman, and again, if I got it wrong, I deeply apologize, spoke and said the program will do more than just hand out needles. She talked about the program offering reproductive health care, substance abuse treatment, et cetera, et cetera. And there were emails both for and against read at the meetings before the public comment period. And just like with the emails that were read, there were people in attendance during the public comment section that were both for and against the program. One woman spoke saying that if it weren't for programs like needle exchanges, that she would not be alive. One of those against the program talked about moving to Charleston from the D.C. area and said he was worried about the program being that close to his house. And quite frankly, I get that, sir. He said that they would be distributing heroin needles, his words, to junkies 200 feet from his house, and that these programs are a magnet for drug users. Now, a little history here. Back in 2018, the Kanawha Charleston Health Department's needle exchange was shut down. The legislature, of course, have done what they could to curtail some of these programs, allowing, or basically saying you have to go through a process in order to do this. And look, the studies have shown that these types of programs do work in lessening the numbers of diseases and whatnot that are associated with IV drug use. Yay. But at the center of all this is the fact that many people, myself included, are of the mindset that while the programs nationwide may be successful in lessening disease and things of that nature, you are still encouraging illegal behavior. And here is the part where I come off as being a cold, unfeeling piece of crap. Be that as it may, I don't have a lot of sympathy for drug users. I'm sorry. If that makes me a bad person, so be it. I am more concerned about the person who has to live with the consequences of other people's poor life choices. And trust me, it is a choice. You know how medical professionals will tell you that a glass of wine or alcohol in moderation could be good for you, or at least okay. And there are proven studies that marijuana can help those that are sick with something, say cancer, possibly to get their appetites back, or could be a much safer alternative to pain pills. Well, folks, there's no good heroin stories. I'm sorry. No doctor is going to say, hey, you should try heroin or fentanyl. It'll help you with your symptoms. Ain't happening. And before someone says you would feel differently if it were someone in your family, no, actually I wouldn't. In fact, I have a half-sister who I haven't seen or talked to since 2003. 20 years have gone by since we talked. And frankly, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea whether she's dead or alive. She had it all. Smart, much smarter than I am, which is not really saying a whole lot. College educated. We came from a good, hardworking family. No abuse, no issues. Like one day she just decided to start taking pain pills when that was the popular thing to do in the early 2000s. She wasn't prescribed the pain pills, no injury. She just got bored, decided to start taking pain, and she chose that path. Her college education went out the window, her marriage, her kid. She chose drugs over all of them. She ended up losing her kid. Our mother, who passed away in 2019, we couldn't find my sister to even tell her that our mother had passed away. And to this day, I don't know whether she even knows that our mother passed away, nor do I even care. And because I'm sure she doesn't. My mother spent the last few years of her life dealing with the restraining orders and whatnot to keep my sister from stealing everything she had to support a drug habit. And I say all that to say this. I am pretty hardcore in my stance on drug users. I have zero tolerance for those who choose a lifestyle. And yes, in many cases, it is a choice. It is a choice. And you are legitimizing poor lifestyle choices when you hand out materials for someone that is conducting illegal activity. Zero sympathy here, folks, zero. And I see businesses around Charleston and other places displaying signs that say, we have naloxone. That, of course, being the drugs that can reverse overdose. I see bumper stickers that say that, too. Well, just know this. UOD around me, I don't carry naloxone. You've had a bad day. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. All right, got to go. Thank you so much to all of our guests on the show today, callers and texters. Did not imagine that. That got some texts going. Well, I'll do my best to try to get them on the show tomorrow. Hoppy in the news coming up. Follow the news of the day, WVMetroNews.com, WCHSNetwork.com as well. 580 Live presented in part by Meeks Realty Group. Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors, that is, Meeks Realty Group. Visit online, meeks.us, or call 304-440-1101. Coming up on the show tomorrow, Chris Withrow from the Benny Keaton Shrine. Also a little bit more on the Inside a Huddle event with Tony Caridi. I will see you tomorrow. For my producer, Hollywood Jeff Petty, thank you so much. Till next time, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes on WVRC Media Station. We're proud to live here too.